Human history is just filled with these beautiful, almost perfect sounding words. Words that really define our highest ideals and give us a ton of hope.
I mean, think about a word like freedom. It feels like a promise, doesn't it? It's this promise that you can choose, you can speak, you can live your life without constantly looking over your shoulder.
And then you've got democracy. I mean, what a powerful, absolutely revolutionary idea. The idea that power doesn't belong to some king or a dictator, it belongs to us, to the people.
And of course, justice. That deep gut feeling we all have about what's right and what's wrong. On paper, these words, they look flawless. They feel so full of promise. But that leads to a really tough question, doesn't it? If our ideals are so pure, why does the world so often feel, well, divided and confusing, and like it's falling way short of those promises?
So that gap between the ideal and the real, that's what we're going to dive into. Let's start with this core conflict, right? The beautiful words versus the hard, messy reality.
And this, right here, gets to the heart of it. It's not that these big ideas are flawed. No, not at all. It's that actually doing them, putting them into practice day in and day out, is incredibly difficult. The definition sounds so sweet, but the daily work, it's just hard.
Okay, so let's really break down that gap between the theory and the practice, using a few of these big ideas. This is where the beautiful dream really slams into the real world.
So, democracy. It kind of makes one huge, maybe even dangerous assumption, that the people are informed and thoughtful. The promise is amazing. Power is in our hands. But the reality? Come on, we live in an age where a lie can circle the globe before the truth even gets its shoes on. Misinformation spreads like wildfire, and our emotional reactions, they often just steamroll right over rational long-term thinking.
And we see this exact same pattern with freedom. The dream is beautiful, total liberty, but freedom without the really hard practice of responsibility, of accountability, and just plain old self-control, well, that's not freedom. It just spirals into chaos and noise, with people hurting each other under the banner of choice.
Justice, yeah, it faces the same challenge. That feeling of justice is so simple, right? Punish the bad guy, reward the good guy. But a system of justice can't run on pure emotion. It needs evidence. It needs patience. It needs us to put our biases aside. And in the real world, our hunger for quick revenge, our own hidden biases, they often bend the system away from anything that looks like true justice.
So if democracy and freedom and justice all seem to struggle in practice, what's the common thread here? What's the one single root cause that makes these incredible ideals fall so short so often?
The source material we're looking at points to one thing: ignorance. But, and this is so important, we have to get this definition right. This is not about being unintelligent or stupid. Not at all. It's about knowledge that stays stuck in its own little bubble. It's about disconnected thinking, where we all have our own facts, but we lack any kind of shared understanding.
And when that kind of ignorance starts to grow, it creates this terrifying downward spiral. First, fear of the unknown starts to replace any desire to actually understand each other. Then, that fear, it just opens the door for manipulators to grab power. And finally, in that kind of environment, speaking up, sharing what you know, that becomes risky. Silence itself becomes the danger.
Okay, I know. That sounds incredibly bleak. But it is not the end of the story. Because once you identify the root of the failure, you can also find the path forward. There is a way to bridge this gap.
The whole solution is anchored in this one simple but honestly really profound belief. It's this recognition that wisdom isn't held by one person or one group. It's spread out among all of us. The power isn't in what one of us knows, it's in what all of us know together.
And when we actually act on that belief, when knowledge is actively, openly shared, everything starts to change. The darkness of ignorance literally runs out of space. Manipulators lose their influence because people are informed. Fear starts to lose its voice. And the result? We, all of us collectively, start making smarter decisions. We start building healthier, stronger communities.
So here it is, the ultimate takeaway. Our greatest ideas aren't actually flawed, they're just incomplete. Freedom, justice, democracy, they were never designed to work in a vacuum of isolated individuals. They absolutely require a foundation of shared knowledge just to have a fighting chance. And that leaves us with one last vital question to think about. We've seen that ignorance thrives in silence and in separation. So, what happens when we do the exact opposite?
What kind of future, what kind of world can we build if we actually commit to sharing what we know and learning from each other, out loud and together?
Thanks for watching. If you believe ideas should be practiced, not just spoken. If you believe learning never ends. If you believe the future is built through collaboration, then you're already part of this. Join the conversation. Share what you know. Learn what you don't. Because when knowledge lives, darkness has no power.